All right, sitting down with us right now, kind of the heart and soul of this team, even though he won't be in the starting rotation, at least at the start of this season. Joe Musgrove is with us here from the back patio of the Peoria Sports Complex. And as you walked in, I mean, you look good, Joe. How do you feel? How's the arm? What are we, about 4 months since surgery
Yeah,
now?
I believe middle October was the date, I think the 13th. So I think I'm coming up on 5 months here. I'm supposed to be able to start throwing around 6 months. I feel great right now. The rehab has been, really, really smooth. I haven't had any setbacks, knock on wood. My program as far as, weightlifting and training and stuff has been, right where I should be. I feel like I'm actually a little bit ahead of schedule. So I've been very patient. I've been very diligent with the work. And, now that I'm a month away from throwing, I'm not going to push myself and cause a setback this late in the rehab. So I'm very close to hitting that next phase of throwing, and I'm going to make sure I get there healthy.
Well, and we were I saw the article that came out, and I think what spoke to me was the way that your teammates talked about you being around. And I don't know that it's the same for every rehabbing pitcher on every single team that they necessarily want somebody around. But with you, it was different. The people always said, no, we want Joe around. He's an invaluable resource as far as getting us ready and helping us. That had to feel pretty good to hear from your teammates.
Yeah, that's a great feeling, and that's not something that I'm searching for with the decisions that I make. I'm not looking for validation or for somebody to praise me. Part of it is, being a good teammate. I want to be around for the guys. I do feel like I add some value to the team, whether it's leadership wise or, just simply the way I work and having people around, to kind of follow my lead. But another part of it is, for myself, for the ability to stay around the game and stay up to date with the things that are happening. I hate missing road trips. Even last year when I had some of those issues with the elbow and I didn't go on the Colorado trips, missing 3-4 days and the guys come back, you feel like you've missed the whole season.
Yeah, I was going to ask, that's got to be a really difficult thing for a ball player that's recovering from something, knowing all the homies are out and they're fighting and they're battling and you're just kind of sitting at home. Probably can weigh on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to watch, and then the guys get home from the road trip and they're telling stories and they're laughing. I'm like, what are we talking about? What's going?
You just
feel like you're gone. Yeah, so that's part of it. And then I don't want to lose my edge for the game, and I feel like being around the game and investing myself into the games as if I were the one that was going to be taking the ball. The anticipation, the preparation, the stress and nerves that a starter goes through leading up to a start. I don't want to lose the feeling of that. So I try to stay around as much and be involved as much as I can.
So last season, Joe, obviously it's competitive advantage to not let the opponent know what you might be going through. But you kind of knew this was coming for a while. The ligament was starting to go, and you were trying to battle all the way through. You made it into that playoff start against Atlanta. What was that like for you, knowing at any moment it could be the pitch that, all right, this is it, and then I'm going to be out for, a year plus?
Yeah, I mean, a little more stressful earlier in the year. I had seen a couple doctors back in like June, July, and they told me I had a pretty significant tear in there. And basing what they told me off of how I felt, the two didn't match up necessarily. They told me a significant enough tear where they were ready to do surgery, and I felt like I had plenty of juice left in the arm to continue throwing. And at this point, I knew there was damage, and I had kind of come to peace, with the idea that there's a good chance it goes by the time I took the mound for that Braves game. And, not to make myself sound like some hero, because I know there's plenty of guys that have thrown through injuries before and probably thrown through worse. But I think anybody at this level that's getting paid what I'm getting paid and has the opportunity to pitch in the postseason is going to take the ball. So, I knew what the risks were and I knew what I was getting into, and it came a little sooner than I expected. The hardest thing, I think, was going into that game. That was the last result that I had pictured happening, was walking off the mound in the middle of the inning. I thought, if anything, maybe it doesn't go my way and I get rocked, and that's going to be the worst that it could happen. So it was tough to sit with for a while, but again, I kind of had the idea that there was a chance it could happen, and it was, somewhat easier to sit with.
Talking to Joe Musgrove here on Ben and Woods this morning, and yeah, man, nobody here, nobody in that clubhouse liked how the season ended last year, certainly. But you got young players on the team. You've been through it. You've been through it. You've been to the top of the mountain. So how hard was it to kind of put your arms around some of those guys in there and let them know, hey man, we can be back. We can do this again. What was the kind of the mood like when the season ended?
Yeah, very somber, man. I mean, you get so close, and we've been working since February of last year. It's a long season and a lot of time put in. And, to have it end like that is, it's really hard to sit with, and it happens so fast. Rug just gets ripped out underneath you. But I think as a group, we feel really good because we have, most of the staff coming back with a few additions that are going to be really big for us. The core of our players are all coming back again with a few additions that are really going to help us. And I think the progress we made last year as a team and as a family unit is only going to get stronger having that same core group of guys coming back with, a little taste of what that looks like. So
I got to imagine too, one of our favorite Padres we got a chance to meet and spend some time with last year was Higgy. We loved Higgy.
Yeah.
Higgy was great. Really assimilated into the team. Now he's with Texas, and we got some new catchers in. We got some catchers that have been here before. Is that something that you also take upon yourself to kind of work with those guys to get everybody all kind of symbiotic together,
Yep.
like working together? So how's it been with the new catcher so far?
Yeah, man. I mean, that pitcher-catcher relationship is so important. And it's tough, a new catcher coming into organization. You have 6 weeks to learn 40 new arms, and what they like to do, learn their mentality, learn the way that they operate. So yeah, it takes a lot of effort on the pitcher's side to sit down and explain and find windows throughout the day to sit and talk with your catchers, whether it's at the lunch table or on the bench during the game. That's crucial. And these catchers are here at 6 a.m. every morning. Some of the last guys to leave, these guys are working tirelessly to make sure that they're prepared and ready. So we got to a really good point with Higgy last year, and we got, Martine and Sully and Campy and Diaz, who we worked with a little bit last year, guys that have some experience in the game and some that have been around us for a little while. So I think we feel good with where we're at.
Joe, it's almost funny that I don't know this, but the Tommy John surgery, hundreds of pitchers have now gone through it. And actually, it was my grandfather, Dr. Curlin, and his partner, Frank Jobe, who developed the surgery.
Yeah. That's his grandfather.
And my grandpa passed away about 30 years ago, but yeah, they was right there, cutting edge procedure when they performed it on Tommy John for the first time. What is it like, though? Where did they take the ligament from? Was it from your leg?
Yeah,
they move it into your elbow.
Oh.
I don't know if there's a standard for what guys usually do. I chose to do the palmaris, which is the forearm ligament right there. Yeah, and kind of an irrelevant ligament from what I've learned. Some people have it, some don't. It doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. You're fine to operate without it. It creates a little bit of scar tissue issues in the wrist, but I kind of figured I'd rather have one arm bandaged up than an arm and a leg, or both arms. So,
so are you completely like out and under for the whole surgery? And then you wake up, and what's it like?
Yeah, it's a pretty short surgery. I think it's about 45 minutes. I had, some flexor issues that they repaired. I had some bone spurs. They did a little microfracturing to kind of, regenerate some of the growth in the back of the elbow. So it was maybe an hour 15, an hour 20, but he said it went extremely smooth. I wake up and some of the worst pain I've been in. I try not to take the pain meds, with any operation I've had.
It's tough.
Partially just to kind of see what I'm feeling. And I don't want to, ever run into the issue of getting stuck on those things.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, man, So, but I mean, after like 2 days, I was in a lot of pain. I had the surgery on a Friday, I believe. I think it was the day of Game 5 against the Dodgers. And, sitting in my hotel room feeling like hell.
That's a really bad day.
Dude, I had to leave the hotel and walk. Me and my girlfriend, fiance now, we left the hotel and walked a lap or two around AT&T, the Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
Just to clear my head, man. I was in a bad spot. But, the first few days were really, really rough, man. And then about a week and a half in, I felt, a lot better, was more tolerable. And it's just been, easy cruising since then.
I broke my elbow in college, and the next time I picked up a baseball, I was so terrified. It's just a scary feeling to throw or swing a golf club or whatever it may be. Obviously I wasn't getting paid to be a professional baseball player. For you, how I guess anxious are you to get the ball in your hand and just kind of let it eat for a minute?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is the longest I've had off of throwing a baseball since I was probably 7 years old.
That's amazing.
I haven't been through this before. I'm in a little bit of uncharted territory, but I'm really trusting the rehab program. I'm trusting, the opinions and the experience of guys that have had it before. I've had a ton of phone calls with doctors, with ex-players, with current players that have had the operation, some guys that have had two, and, tried to create the best program to get back the most efficiently. And a big part of that is being patient on the front end of the surgery. You don't throw for 6 months. Some doctors do 4 months, but Keith Meister in Texas has had a really high success rate with his guys, and they don't throw until at least 6 months. So I've been told to be very patient on the front end and don't push yourself. And then, maybe when you're on the mound and the 8-9 month mark, you can kind of make up a little bit of ground then. So everything that I've been told and the program that I followed hasn't let me down yet. So I'm going to kind of stay true to it. But yeah, I'm very excited to throw the ball. And obviously there's concerns of, is it going to be the same? Am I going to, have issues? Is there going to be setbacks? And I'm sure there will be at some point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, I like to think too. You read those stories all the time. The guy that gets TJ and comes back and actually is throwing better than he ever has before. So let's keep that headspace.
Yeah,
all
absolutely,
of us.
Man.
That's
absolutely.
what I'm going to.
That's kind of been a big part of my thing too. Like, I would love to be the guy that sets a record and comes back in 11, 12 months and is pitching lights out in the playoffs. But obviously, I'm very aware that the odds of that aren't very great. But my preparation, my mindset, my training, everything has been geared around being back in October. And if we're a month away and I'm not there and it's, out of reach, then I'm fine with, putting the ball down and getting ready for 26. So,
by the way, congratulations on the engagement. We just had the newlywed Jake Cronenworth on, and now you're heading down that road. Excited?
Yeah, very excited. We've been dating for a little over 4 years, and it was due. She's been a great addition to our life. We complement each other very well. Raising a dog together has given us an idea of how we're going to handle our kids.
Sure.
But, yeah, it's been great.
Dog's way easier. I'm going to tell you right now.
Really?
way easier. Ask Maddie, right?
Yeah. Especially a dog with severe anxiety. That
exactly.
Leave your side,
Exactly, man. Well, yeah, congratulations on that front. Try not to have too much input on the wedding. Just try not to.
That's what I'm saying. I said, let me handle the DJ. You get whatever else you want.
And I'll just you do this. This is, and then you run it. And we'll all do it together. But
check.
Yeah, I've kind of learned that lesson too. Joe, we wish you the very best. Obviously, thanks so much for coming on. Give your mom our love. She's always been so great to our program. Brought coffee for our Christmas
she told
show.
me she brought some.
She's incredible.
Down.
Just incredible. My youngest son did pass gas in front of her, which was, I'll never forget that moment, certainly. But man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. We wish you the very best.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being with you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Joe Musgrove looking hale and healthy.